25 News Now presents Storm Prep 2025 with your first warned storm team. Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez, Meteorologist Trey Mining, and Meteorologist Parker Cox. Storm Prep 2025.
Hello and welcome to Storm Prep 2025. I'm Chief Meteorologist Maclovio Perez, and for the next 30 minutes, we'll be doing preparations for the upcoming tropical storm season. This upcoming season is supposed to be more active than normal. So the question is, will any of those storms actually make it to the Texas coast? That is the question, and that is why you and I need to be ready for anything that comes out of the tropics. Last July, some of you will remember, we had Hurricane Beryl that made landfall right here in Matagorda County. Now, the western part of the crossroads received rain and wind, but the eastern side of the crossroads got the brunt of the hurricane conditions with Beryl. 25 News Now meteorologist Scott Pitney says locals in Matagorda County have gotten a new level of respect for a Category 1 hurricane.
We've been through hurricanes, tornadoes, high winds, floods. This is just something else.
Wow, here comes the wind from the other direction. Beryl will bring its hurricane force winds, which we are expecting here in Bay City. Here in Bay City, the lights just flickered. Actually, the internet service just went out here at the hotels. Beryl now making landfall.
Today we have half as many as usual because of the hurricane coming.
There will be a severe traffic jam, but we have patience and we believe in prayers.
Well, the yardstick, I guess, for us is Harvey.
This year, 4th of July is a lot slower than the previous years, because right now we would be getting slammed with customers right now.
Yes, that's why we're leaving a little bit earlier than what was planned.
We did not lose any vessels. Some were damaged, but we did not lose any vessels.
Hurricane Beryl was a different kind of storm. It was an early season storm. It came in July, started 1,000 miles away. At one point in time, it was a Category 5. When it arrived here in Matagorda County, it was a Category 1. But did that designation as a Category 1, first on the scale, properly prepare everybody for the storm's arrival? When a hurricane threatens, understanding the forecast is key to staying safe. Our Sunrise meteorologist Parker Cox explains the cone of uncertainty, what it means for us, and why it matters in your preparation for the storm.
I'm here in Port Lavaca, Texas, just 40 miles outside Matagorda, where Hurricane Beryl made landfall last year on the morning of July 8th. Now, just days before this powerful hurricane plowed through several communities, residents felt at ease, as if the hurricane wasn't supposed to pass through them. But here's the catch. Originally, it wasn't. In fact, the National Hurricane Center published a forecast path for which Beryl would take called the Cone of Uncertainty, pinpointing the landfall somewhere around the border But a couple days passed and the cone shifted directly over the crossroads, which left thousands in panic. Today, I'm going to explain to you the importance and meaning of the cone of uncertainty and how it can keep you and your family well prepared. To explain the cone, I bring you into the 25 News Now studio. Now, for starters, you're probably wondering, what is the cone of uncertainty? It sounds kind of scary, right? Well, the cone is actually a forecast path that's drawn out by the Hurricane Center that represents where only the center of a tropical system could track. Now, taking a look at the forecast cone for Hurricane Beryl, we're starting out with July 5th, that's Friday morning, just 3 days before landfall on Monday morning. This cone right here shows where the center of Hurricane Beryl is likely to track over the next 3 days. And right off the bat, you'll probably notice the hurricane was first anticipated to head towards Brownsville and the border. But remember, the storm could head anywhere within that cone, to which it did, taking the right side path headed towards Matagorda Bay. So 24 hours had passed, and on that Saturday morning, the Hurricane Center had shifted the cone more northward, lining it right up with the crossroads, and this left thousands of South Texans with only 48 hours to prepare for what was a disastrous hurricane for some.
The cone of uncertainty is just one part of hurricane forecasting. Staying alert and being ready is the best way to protect yourself and your family. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking about hurricane categories, what you need to know, what you need to look for, and how you need to prepare.
Sponsored by American Shield. Trust the Shield. Aztec Ford. Buy, drive, and service with confidence. Coastal Bend College. Success starts here. El Campo Cycle Center. Full of pep. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Wind Services. Experience the power of reliability. Victoria All Sports. AEP Texas. USA Concrete Coatings. Quality workmanship that lasts.
We are all familiar with the Saffir-Simpson scale. That's the one that goes Category 1 to Category 5. But I'm here to tell you that that scale only predicts the intensity of the wind. It does not predict other factors of the storm, like the amount of rainfall or the storm surge or how the county roads are going to be when the storm arrives. The residents of Sargent, Texas learned that the Category 1 designation doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the storm.
The Saffir-Simpson scale has been around since the 1970s, and while it is easy to understand and very familiar, it does not predict other factors of the storm that would affect the potential damage and your safety. Back in 2010, the Saffir-Simpson scale was adjusted to solely represent wind intensity. Scientists made that adjustment on the theory that the scale should not be used for the wrong reasons. It does not predict other factors like storm surge, rainfall, flooding, or storm duration. Last year, we faced Hurricane Beryl, a storm that traveled over 1,000 miles from the Atlantic to the Gulf of Mexico. At one point, it reached a Category 5 in strength. But as it came ashore in Matagorda County, it was rated a Category 1. Did that designation as a Category 1 lower the storm expectation and people's preparation for the arrival of the storm? It's been a year since Hurricane Beryl made landfall here. Some of the damage is still visible, and roofs are being repaired for folks that had to wait their turn in line. In the postseason analysis of Hurricane Beryl, the National Hurricane Center was able to make several corrections to Beryl's record. The peak winds for Beryl at landfall were upgraded from 80 to 90 miles an hour. That made it a strong Category 1, only 5 miles per hour from a Category 2.
Doesn't mean that you're not going to get some of the other elements of Mother Nature. And so everyone should treat them for your own safety. And I would say evacuate, and then when it's safe, come back in.
Yeah. So we've decided we're going to leave every time now when we have one approach. And like I said, Lee there, he wrote it out, and he says he's not going to stay over again either because it was really bad.
So the moral of this story is that you can use the Saffir-Simpson scale to know the strength of the winds, but other factors may affect your safety. Consider issues like storm surge, inland rain, flooded roadways, storm path, the elevation above sea level. All of these issues are variables, so when in doubt, head for higher ground.
So the Saffir-Simpson scale does give you a sense of the storm's wind strength, but a hurricane will have many other dangerous factors, so it's wise to consider all of those other risks and be ready for whatever the storm brings. Now, the city of Seadrift is taking action to prevent the unexpected dangers of a tropical storm. Find out what they're doing to keep residents safe before the storm arrives. Clearing up debris around your home or property is critical before the storm's arrival. Just about anything can become a flying projectile in storm-force winds. 25 News Now reporter Lupe Zapata visited the city of Seadrift, where the new police chief says abandoned boats are a disaster waiting to happen. By cleaning things up now, Seadrift is working to ensure that when the storm arrives, the community is ready.
It's wood and then it's coated in fiberglass. There's a breach here that they covered in fiberglass. This one's starting to breach, so they'll cover that in fiberglass to try to salvage the boat for as long as they can.
This old boat is a problem for this new chief. She says it's not only an eyesore, it's a disaster waiting to happen. In her first year as Seadrift's chief of police, Cheyenne Beaver says an item at the top of her to-do list is cleaning up the city. Literally.
So this particular boat just showed up probably about a month ago. We've been doing whatever efforts we can to make contact with the owners of the vessel to have it removed.
When a hurricane rolls in, the first thing that's going to happen are tides rising.
And when that happens, all of these boats will typically leave our harbor. They'll seek safe haven elsewhere because when the tide starts to rise, everything is going to come on land. So this boat here, being that there's nothing in it, it doesn't have an engine in it, it weighs little to nothing in 140 mile an hour, 150 mile an hour winds. And with these new residences here, this boat can essentially just become a projectile and roll into these houses here, causing a lot of damage.
Chief Beaver gave me a tour of Seadrift and showed me the many abandoned boats and cars scattered around town. Like this boat, she says hasn't moved in over a decade.
Because this is a largely a fishing community, it's been a norm here. It's a social norm to see people's fishing gear and equipment and people ready to go fishing. But if this boat becomes a projectile, it could take out an entire house.
And it's not just boats. This abandoned SUV, another potential problem. Found sitting in this ditch, it would serve as a plug during storm flooding. It's this issue of dangerous trash that prompted Chief Beaver to work on leading her first city ordinance as chief of police.
It's a newly developed ordinance we just approved a few months ago that essentially aids in getting rid of dilapidated vessels, dilapidated vehicles that are kind of strewn about throughout the city. This gives us some teeth in helping getting them removed from the city.
Born and raised in this area, Chief Beaver showed me damage at her grandparents' house from 2017 when Hurricane Harvey devastated Seadrift's community. She wants to make sure all of the trash isn't around for the next big one.
When it comes to the city here, this is where my family is. My roots run super deep here. My cousins, siblings, aunts, uncles, my grandparents live here. So it's home to me. I want to make sure that my home is safe and the people in it.
We all know that hurricane season brings big risks to homeowners, and you need to make sure that your insurance coverage and your home are prepared for the next storm. We'll be talking about that after the break. And now we turn to those that are most vulnerable in a storm, and that would be the homeless. Sunrise anchor Carolina Astrain went and spoke to homeless advocates to try and see what can be done.
Several years ago, when Harvey hit, the Victoria Office of Emergency Management set up safe rooms in Bloomington and at the St. Joseph High School campus. County emergency leaders say continuous feeding, medical care, baby food, diapers are all things needed when operating a shelter. Since Harvey, the Victoria OEM and its relationship with the Area Homeless Coalition has become stronger than ever. Last summer was a testimony to how ready the area was as the community prepared for the possible threat posed by Hurricane Beryl.
We are able to prepare in ways that even big cities like Houston and Austin and Corpus haven't been able to do. And so, like I said, I'm very proud of the fact that we do talk about these things with people year-round, not just, the day before something happens.
Kim Pickens, who works with the homeless community in the Crossroads, says some of those evacuees without a cell phone may struggle to make it back home.
Usually there's somebody who is running the shelters when we have those big disasters in other cities that can help people get provided with some way to contact family, friends, whoever they have.
The Victoria community is ready now more than ever thanks to new additions like the Midcoast Family Services Community Resource Hub, which is also equipped with a generator, along with showers, clothing, and a kitchen. Pickens says the biggest thing we can possibly do with the homeless community is develop relationships, which can be forged through volunteering during times of need.
Relationships are the biggest thing that we could possibly do with our folks that are unhoused, or if you have elderly neighbors. The thing is, we just need to get better at relationships.
We have details on how you can volunteer with the Homeless Coalition of the Golden Crescent. With the hurricane season underway, it is important to make sure that your home insurance coverage is up to date. Weekend meteorologist Trey Mining has some expert advice for homeowners.
Your home is your greatest investment. So when hurricane season rolls around, making sure your home can weather the storm is a top priority. Thankfully, there are several options available. John Lamson with American Shield Roofing and Construction has installed and repaired hundreds of roofs across South Texas. Lamson tells his customers to be aware of what your insurance covers going into hurricane season.
One thing that people need to take into consideration is, one, what your deductible is, okay? Right now, the standard going rate for all deductibles in the industry is about 2%, okay? Depending on, what your payments are and what your policy reads, it could be 3, 4, 5% of the overall value of the structure.
The lower the deductible, the more the insurance company pays on your claim. With this in mind, Lamson tells us about two different insurance policies specifically regarding your roof, known as the recoverable cash value and the actual cash value.
A recoverable cash value insurance policy versus an actual cash value, an ACV policy, is on an RCV. Recoverable means that you recover the difference in between what the value is of the roof right now in its current condition as its damaged state, and what the value is at the installation of a new roof. So it's recoverable cash value, and this is the value that gets paid to the homeowner after the installation is done.
If you go with the actual cash value, you will see a lower monthly payment, but you will only receive the depreciated value of the roof once the adjuster evaluates the damage done. If you go with the recoverable cash value, repair costs are paid in full, regardless of the damage done. The downside is you will see a much higher monthly payment. Roof replacements typically cost anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. Regardless of your coverage, taking preventative measures now will help you save money in the long run. Lamson recommends doing a regular visual inspection of your roof.
And over time, your roof does become dry and brittle. If a hurricane or a high wind event does come through, this is an opportunity for your roof to be damaged significantly.
Now is the time to have an insurance expert examine your roof, so you're ready for anything.
Even with the proper insurance coverage, the experts say you should set aside a separate fund for home repairs, just in case. From the shoreline to the science lab, we're going to see how discoveries could shape the future of coastal protection. We'll have that coming up after the break on Storm Prep 2025. Beneath the beauty of the Texas coastline lies a fragile balance and coastline that is constantly being tested by nature. Researchers at the University of Texas Marine Science Institute are turning research into resilience, studying everything from the seagrass to the storm surge. 25 News Now anchor Shauna Curry shows us how their work is helping us better understand and protect life along the coast.
Life on the Texas coast is full of beauty and vulnerability. From beachgoers to fishermen, this region means something different to everyone. At the University of Texas Marine Science Institute in Port Aransas, it's also a living lab and a line of defense.
Our purpose is to conduct research to better understand the natural coastal and ocean environments. So we have chemists, we have biologists, and we have microbiologists and a lot of researchers that are really interested in understanding how the oceans work and function.
From oyster reefs to seagrass beds, the Institute's scientists keep a close eye on these habitats through long-term monitoring. This ongoing data collection helps them and state agencies respond to natural disasters like hurricanes more effectively.
We have monitoring stations that are out in the bays and estuaries all the time.
Their research proved vital during and after Hurricane Harvey. The storm caused major damage, but it also offered important lessons.
So monitoring is not a sexy thing. It's things that people don't like to fund because it's a little bit boring, but it is so important because unless you know what it was like before, you have no idea what these impacts are afterwards. So really having the support to do long-term monitoring is very critical.
The health of these natural systems doesn't just affect wildlife, it affects us. Healthy dunes and reefs can reduce storm surge and protect coastal property. And understanding changes to marine life means more sustainable fisheries for commercial fishers and recreational anglers alike.
Texas is such that there's very little natural hard infrastructure. You know, most of the bay bottoms is soft and silty sand. That doesn't provide a lot of protection when a hurricane comes through. So anytime you have things like seagrass or oyster reefs or a healthy dune ecosystem, that's really going to make and lessen the impact of the storm event, either through less wave action or less storm surge, which are some of the two key factors that cause more cost and flood damage to homes.
Locals and visitors can help too by respecting the environment, learning more, and following regulations.
It's always helpful to have people interested in the environment and learn more about it. So whatever they can to understand the bay system and its importance to themselves in terms of storm surge protection and or fisheries, it's super important.
With rising sea levels and stronger storms, the work of the UT Marine Science Institute is more important than ever. And thanks to their research, Texas is better equipped to face what's ahead.
The work at the UT Marine Science Institute is a reminder that protecting the coast is a lot more than sandbags and seawalls. It takes science and it takes people behind that work. And with stronger storms expected in the future, their work is more critical than ever. We do have a Storm Prep viewer poll, and we want to hear from you. When a hurricane is on the way, which preparation measures do you prioritize first? Is it stocking up on food and water? Is it securing important documents? Is it preparing the evacuation plans? Is it the home reinforcement and protection? Or is it purchasing a generator? Go to crossroadstoday.com/vote weather and let us hear from you. We want to thank you for joining us on this year's Storm Prep 2025. And remember, we'll be here for you before and after the storm. Until next time, I'm Chief Meteorologist Maclovio Perez.